How about those Miami Dolphins? And how about Mike McDaniel making a statement in the win 42-38 over the Baltimore Ravens, just when it looks like Baltimore is going to pull this off. Tua Tagovailoa goes ham, 36 of 50, 469 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 INTs in this one. The 6 touchdowns go like this: Tyreek Hill, 11 for 190 and 2. Jalen Waddle, 11 for 171 and 2. Mike Gesicki, 4 for 41 and a touchdown thrown to the heavens. It was so good today, Bloom. River Craycraft got involved. Nobody started him, but he had a catch for 2 yards and a touchdown. On the ground, Raheem Mostert, 11 for 51. Chase Edmonds, 5 for 33. Most of that on the big 28-yard run late in this game. But I teased it, Bloom. Let's talk about it. This was a statement from Mike McDaniel and his Dolphins team.
A statement, and Cecil, I think we've seen this all across the NFL in the first 2 weeks. One thing is the first 2 weeks of the new preseason. Okay, bad offensive play, bad play in some ways all around. But how many times today, how many times in the first 2 weeks have we seen a team thoroughly outplay a team and let them off the hook? Rest in peace, Dennis. Let them off the hook. The NFL's it's an emotional game. It's an emotional game. And you can't let up your emotions. You can't put the W in the column until the game's over, 0-0s. And we saw last year on a Monday night, Miami thoroughly embarrass Lamar Jackson and really make this team look poor. And we thought, okay, that gives us some hint at how this matchup might go. It did not go that way at all. But obviously, Mike McDaniel has the team's attention. They have belief in self in Tua, and the rest is, as they say, history. And it's not the only history-making game. Coming out, it wasn't great for Tua. There's a wild deflection interception. Jalen Waddle did get hot early, had an easy screen pass touchdown. Tyreek Hill, that tennis ball to just make the dog move whatever direction you want, and that set things up for Waddle. But Justin Houston's playing really well for Baltimore. They were getting up into his grill. And you saw Miami kind of come off the deck. Mike Gesicki's back. He had a terrific leaping touchdown to show all of his amazing athleticism as they came out in the second half, said we're not dead yet. But then things started to slow down. All Baltimore really needed was a 4th down conversion to really put this away, and Lamar Jackson couldn't get it. Then you saw Tua get a touchdown to Hill, then another long touchdown to Hill, and then Baltimore just really couldn't do anything on offense. I think they just checked out. See, I think what you're seeing is once you feel like we won, you can't get your emotions back up. You can't. Like, that's just something that a team, 28-3, right? We almost saw the Falcons come back from a 28-3 deficit today. You cannot get your emotions back up to that level once you think you've got the win. And it's magical, though. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Cease, that there are scenarios where this game would have ended up a 21-point win for the Ravens, and Tua got thoroughly contained, and Mike McDaniel got humbled by John Harbaugh. It doesn't matter, because now this is what happened. Tua Tagovailoa going into the record book for the Dolphins. They've had some pretty good quarterbacks, I think. And Waddle and Hill can both be wide receiver ones, because I think what we've seen here is Mike McDaniel and his offensive wizardry. He's going to say, well, if this is what I got, then this is what we're going to leverage. Running game, sure, maybe that was what we leveraged for the 49ers, but we're going to leverage Waddle and Hill. And it's pretty exciting. You saw in this game, I think they tabulated it, Cease, as the cornerbacks for the Ravens had to run over 6,000 yards in this game. So you better be in good condition when you're facing the Dolphins, all right? Because you are going to have to keep up with these guys. The other thing that we see here is that Raheem Mostert was the starter. Raheem Mostert was the better running back. Yes, Chase Edmonds had a run late in this game to help the effort, the comeback win effort. It's Mostert's backfield. Now, don't drop Edmonds. We'll talk about this on the Waiver Wire show. Don't drop Edmonds because, Mostert is not known for staying healthy, but we saw that flip already. So these things can flip. Week 1 usage doesn't guarantee week 2 usage. Baltimore secondary was really banged up in this one. We saw some great things that McDaniel did, and they get to face Buffalo next week.
That's going to be fun because they're not going to go down without a fight. MILB grind. My good buddy Tyler Mond does MILB games, like travels and does MILB games. So yeah, fantastic. And he's got a collection of hats of minor league teams.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
Yeah, there are. He says, "Are you going 180 on Tua?" No, because of what you just said. Like the Ravens secondary is not so very good. We saw that. Can it build confidence? Yes. Can this lead to better play? Sure. Are they figuring things out with Tyreek? Yeah, he still had to slow down for catches, which is so funny to watch him. He'll outrun everybody, slow down, 1, 2, 3, catch, and then outrun everybody again. So 180 on Tua. Why? After a game, a great game to be sure, but lots to prove. We'll see what they can do against Buffalo. That'll be exciting. Baltimore Ravens side, as you mentioned, with Lamar Jackson trying to get it done. 21 of 29, 318, 3 touchdowns, no INTs, 9 for 119, including a 79-yarder and 1 rushing touchdown. Rashad Bateman, 4 for 108 and a touch. Mark Andrews, 9 for 104 and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson, 1 for 12 and a touchdown. Devin Duvernay, 2 for 42. Hopefully you got points for that return there to kick off the game. Scott Hansen didn't even get to say 7 hours of commercial-free football begins right now. And Duvernay had already run one in. So they're like, put it up on the board. Put it on the board. I have a drop of you saying that, Bloom. I have a drop of you saying all that stuff. Ooh. Isaiah Likely, 4 for 43, just because I love him. But the Ravens didn't love this outcome, Bloom.
No. Yeah. I mean, this is going to sting. And again, with John Harbaugh, you would think this team would be able to keep their intensity up until the game is over. Yeah, the kickoff return touchdown for Duvernay. Didn't do much in this game otherwise. Left with a concussion, actually. This game started inauspiciously for the Ravens on offense. Looked like Lamar Jackson scored. Then they overturned it. Then the Dolphins stopped them on 4th down. But then you had some things like a 75-yard bomb to Rashad Bateman. You had Mark Andrews. We had this happen a couple of times today where someone got tackled at the 1. I love this. Fantasy football loves this. If someone gets tackled at the 1 on a good play, let him get the touchdown on the next play. Like, call up their number. We saw this with Mark Andrews. In this one, he got an extra point in your PPR leagues. I think they even mentioned that on TV. Even Demarcus Robinson got in. And then you really felt like this game was going to turn into a laugher when Lamar Jackson ripped off a 79-yard touchdown run. Shades of Terrell Pryor. And Lamar Jackson was one of those cheat codes for fantasy football today. At that point, the game was over. I think that's whenever the team checked out. And no, the game was not over. And next week, they have to face New England. So we'll see what happens. But the AFC, it's a mess.
It is an absolute mess. It is the Audible, and it is time for Jets and Browns. Can't keep those Jets down. Can't keep Joe Flacco down. So this is kind of funny, Bloom. Funny because, what was it, under 2 minutes? And they scored 2 touchdowns? Is that right?
Under 2 minutes.
Yeah.
All Nick Chubb had to do was just take a knee at the 1. That's it. And the game was over.
Yeah. Just slide down. Slide, Bobo, slide. 31-30, the final score. Jets get the win. Joe Flacco, 26-44, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, no INTs. Was Zach Wilson benched? Garrett Wilson, 8 for 102 and 2 touchdowns. Corey Davis, 2 for 83 and a touchdown, including the widest open touchdown you'll ever see. Breece Hall had the 4th touchdown reception, 1 for 10 and a touchdown. Hall also 7 for 50 on the ground. Get that young man worked in a little bit more. 7 for 23 from Michael Carter on the ground. 5 for 27 as a receiver. Elijah Moore, 3 for 41 there. Tyler Conklin, 6 for 40. So they just kept striking. And, well, Amari Cooper didn't want any of that. He turned it down. Amari Cooper turned it down on that onside kick, leading to an opportunity for the Jets. The Jets took advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, Amari Cooper bounces back, but the bad bounce, and he was part of that, defines this game. You saw the Jets go with a fake punt early in this one. So you knew Robert Saleh's pulling on. I'm paying attention to who's Cecil. Are you on the list? I'm paying attention to who's saying bad things about
I'm on the good list because I told him, I got message to him that, it's you versus the GM. Yeah. So you better win.
Yeah, and he did. In this amazing fashion. And you saw here, again, it wasn't looking good for the Jets. It was actually a pretty close game until Nick Chubb put his stamp on it late. You did see Garrett Wilson get a touchdown early, and then he gets banged up. He's back in the game and making a difference. You did see Breece Hall. This is a split backfield, but maybe it starts to go more towards Hall as you saw all that athleticism. There was a coverage breakdown on his touchdown. But still, I think this is what the kind of game you're looking for if you have Breece Hall and you're wanting to trust him, not just for his production, but also this offense, this team getting some confidence. Garrett Wilson looks good. I mean, I love Elijah Moore. I think Elijah Moore's a terrific player. I think Garrett Wilson in this game staked his claim to being the number one receiver for this team. So, I mean, it eventually can end up being great for this team if they have a functional passing game. It wasn't that functional of a passing game until those last 2 minutes when you had Corey Davis. Again, the Browns are just like, well, we won. Nick Chubb scored his third touchdown. It's 30-17. We won. No. And you get the ball back. And at that point, you could see the Browns defense was just on the run. When they got the onside kick and Wilson gets the touchdown to take the lead. Browns defense was pretty good until the end. The second straight week, remember, they were up 23-10 on the Panthers and led up in that one. Now, Cade York ended up winning that game for them, the rookie kicker, but they didn't get that. Jets offense showing signs of life. Jets going to face the 0-2 Bengals.
0-2 Bengals, 11% chance of making the playoffs since 1990 if you start 0-2. Tim says, drink up. Yes, this is scotch. Watch it go down into my belly. And I'll try not to get too buzzed on this show, Bloom, because it was that type of day.
12 games, Cease.
To be sure.
You got another pour?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Always. Let's talk about the Browns. Jacoby Brissett. 22-27, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, and chose the worst time possible to do that. 9 for 109 and a touchdown for Amari Cooper. Again, he turned it down on the onside kick. All you got to do is go grab that ball, Amari. I know it's going to hurt. That's why you're on the hands team, man. Harrison Bryant, 3 for 45. David Njoku, 3 for 32. Nick Chubb, 3 for 26 as a receiver, and then 17 for 87 and 3 touchdowns. But as you mentioned, Bloom, just take a knee and you win this game. Kareem Hunt, 13 for 58. And then also 2 for 16 as a receiver. So the Browns almost did it, but what do they say about close?
Yeah.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. Yeah.
Right. And they pulled it out after almost losing last week. And what's really sad about this is Jacoby Brissett had a really good game. Maybe the best game of his career. As a Steelers fan, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the Browns for having Jacoby. I wish Steelers had Jacoby Brissett. But it wasn't enough because of the failing at the end. They're doing the right thing. They're running the offense through the backfield. And even though Hunt didn't score this week, it was Chubb getting all 3 touchdowns. You can see that both of these guys are going to be good plays. Well, Chubb should have went in the top 15 like he usually does. Hunt is looking good as far as the quality of play. You can see it in his efficiency, in his touches. And then Amari Cooper bounces back big time. Donovan Peoples-Jones, after he looked like he might be Brissett's favorite target in week 1, has an almost amazing touchdown catch, but not quite. And that was it. You did see Njoku get a little more involved. Harrison Bryant get a little bit more involved here. And the offense was terrific. I mean, it was one of the situations where the Chubb third touchdown capped off an 8-minute drive. Like exactly what you want to do. Boa constrictor the life out of the other team in a pretty close game. And you just got to finish it up. I still think the Jets defense is one we're going to want to pick on. Again, maybe a bounce back game for the Bengals next week. Browns offense on the way up. Remember, they're going to have somebody joining the team. Cleveland and Pittsburgh on Thursday night. See, that's not going to be good football.
That is not going to be good football, especially because the Steelers insist on trotting Mitchell Trubisky out there every single week. So let's get to it next up. It is the Steelers and the Patriots, and the Steelers falling. Again, I wouldn't have minded if they lost last week, Bloom, because the faster you get away from Mitchell Trubisky, the better it is. Not at Heinz Field, whatever it's called. Now we'll get to the Steelers in a little bit. Let's talk about Mac Jones. Banged up coming into this game, 21 of 35, 252, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Nelson Aguilar, one of the prettiest touchdowns of the day, 6 for 110 and 1 touchdown. Jacoby Myers never scores touchdowns, 9 for 95. Nobody else did anything else. You got Damian Harris, 15 to 71 and a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson, 9 for 47 on the ground, also a catch for 4 yards. And then we have Damian Harris injury news, Bloom, which is sad for the Patriots runner.
Yeah, the Patriots get a tough win, grind it out. It's all Harris, Myers, and Aguilar. Ramondre Stevenson did a little bit down the stretch. Right. You see Myers moving the chains. Aguilar with an amazing contested catch. Yeah, they spent the money on him. They're using him. You did have a Minkah Fitzpatrick pick of Mac Jones. Nothing really came easy except, and by the way, the touchdown catch by Aguilar was going to be an interception if Aguilar did not make an amazing play, or at least an almost interception. It was coming down in Akello Witherspoon's hands. Damian Harris did get a touchdown on this one after Gunnar Olszewski muffed a punt. So that's how, you know,
former Patriot. There's the Belichick. He's planting them, right?
So, you know, you had 2 touchdowns, one on a ball that could have been picked and the other off a muffed punt, and they had a field goal drive to open the game. They punted when they could have salted the game away at the Steelers' 42-yard line, 4th and 2, and they punted. And I get it. It's the Steelers, and you're not afraid of their offense. But, TJ Watt, Steelers, if they had him, maybe this game would have been a little different. But Damian Harris goes down on the game-clinching play. So we'll see about Ramondre Stevenson on the waiver wire show. Again, Pittsburgh's going to play Cleveland. That defense still looks pretty good. New England's going to play Baltimore. I don't think they're going to be able to put the kind of pressure on that defense that Miami did today.
Let's talk about the Steelers side of things. And there's Mitchell Trubisky for now, 21-33, 168, 1 touchdown, 119. They just look, they look lifeless. They look lethargic. They look effortless.
We're Duck Hodges.
Yeah, exactly. Deontay Johnson, 6 for 57. Najee Harris, 5 for 40 as a receiver, and then 15 for 49 as a rusher. I don't care if he can play. He doesn't look right. Chase Claypool, 4 for 26. It's not working. Pat Freiermuth, 4 for 22 and the touchdown. All right. Jaylen Warren, not much better, 4 for 15 in this one. So it's just, they just look inept. This is a Mitchell Trubisky offense, and it's so blanking obvious to everyone except for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, he wants to give the veteran deference. Most of the talk is around maybe the bye week 9.
That's too late by that time.
See, they got me calling for Mason Rudolph. Play Mason Rudolph.
Well, it's like Mason crazy now.
It's something different. I think if we know the offense, and look, the offensive line's not doing the offense any favor, but if we know, then the players know. And if the players know, then that's not good. What does it say? I mean, Trubisky was picked early in this game. You did have the touchdown to Freiermuth. If there's anyone he can throw the ball well to, it's Freiermuth. You did have an amazing catch for Deontay Johnson on the 2-point conversion as they were trying to get back in the game after the muff punt. But they're setting back offensive football. And New England's defense, now, by the way, we can look back at what New England's defense did against Miami week 1. Okay. That looks a little more impressive now, and that's who the Steelers get next week. I'm sorry, that's who Baltimore gets. Steelers going to get Cleveland again. So lots of bad football. The circle of bad football continues.
Yeah, it's bad football. So the circle of life. Yeah. This is what happens when I start singing. Not the Lion King and not the Tiger King. How about the Jaguars King? Am I right, fellas? Yeah. That's right. Guess who's getting buzzed? 24-0. Jacksonville over Indianapolis, who has not won a game this year. 0-1-1. Jacksonville's 1-1. Matt Ryan throws 3 picks, 16-30, 195. No touchdowns, 3 INTs. No Michael Pittman in this game. No Alec Pierce in this game. Ashton Dulin, 5 for 79. If you went to emergency waiver wire. Nyheim Hines, 4 for 37 as a receiver, a carry for 0 yards. Desmond Patton, 2 for 24. Michael Strawn, 1 for 23. He also had an end zone target, if I'm not mistaken. Kylan Granson looks better than the 2 for 14 stat line. So just put a pin in that. Deep dynasty, whatever. Mo Alley Cox, 1 for 9. Not much there. Jonathan Taylor, 9 for 54 in this one. Just completely outplayed by their division opponent, Bloom, and perhaps the most shocking result of week 2.
Yeah, the Colts after this game, Nyheim Hines, among others, saying they have to do more. This team, I think, is at the gut check point in the seasons. They were embarrassed. Now, they had lost in Jacksonville like 7 straight times or something like that. Look, maybe it was Matt Ryan. Maybe the whole time it was Matt Ryan. Remember all the red zone woes the Falcons had, Cecil? Maybe it was just Matt Ryan all along. He had a really bad, I have a WTF, sorry, Joe, interception to open this game, and it didn't really get better from there. You did see Jonathan Taylor almost get going in the second half, but look, if this is how this offense is going to be, this is going to be a little bit of a limiting factor for Jonathan Taylor having big games. Mo Alley Cox almost had a touchdown. Ashton Dulin was okay. Like, you can say, oh, Michael Pittman was out, and this and that, but it shouldn't be this bad. And maybe Houston's defense is worse than we thought. If they were able to score 20 points, Indy that is, and Jacksonville, look, it was, again, stalling out in the red zone. Maybe they could have not been shut out in this game, but at the same time, Jacksonville's defense had the advantage all day. By the way, it was Carson Wentz, who we're going to talk about, against that Jacksonville defense doing some work in week 1. Maybe he's a little better than we thought, and we saw some more confirmation of that. By the way, Indianapolis, Kansas City next week.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Colts
Yeah.
fans. I am
Yeah,
sorry.
look away.
Hey, look away. This is not the team we were supposed to get. They still seem like they could be a team in the postseason that could give you
Well, because 7 wins
trouble.
might win the AFC South, right?
Ah.
So,
What's better, 4 teams coming from the AFC West or the Colts
Any
coming from the
team.
AFC South? Right. Any team from the AFC South. It is a Jaguar side. And Bloom, I'm so happy. Like, I know, other than Eric Stoner, who I think likes me.
Yeah. He said,
Most
slow
Jag
down.
fans don't like me.
I said, Jags might win the division. He said, hey, relax.
Pump your brakes. But I am so very happy, not for Jags fans, because they're largely tools, at least to me. I'm happy because Trevor Lawrence looks good.
Mhm.
Like, and not great yet, you know what I mean? Not like generational yet, but you see the progress, you see the confidence, you see the intelligence, you see him looking off defenders, like in studying film and charting plays, like you see the advanced nuances that you need from a young quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, 25 of 30, 235, 2 touchdowns, no INTs in this one, wasn't sacked. Christian Kirk, and it's more than them just making themselves right. And I like Doug Peterson. I know him a little bit, Bloom, just a little bit, like away from the podium. I've been able to spend some time with Doug Peterson. I like him. I like him a lot. But it's not just them proving themselves right about Christian Kirk. It's the fit.
Yeah.
What they're doing to utilize Christian Kirk. I can say the same about Zay Jones. The results aren't as good, but like, hey, Zay Jones, congratulations, man. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't doing crap with the Raiders and any of his other stops. Like, okay, he kind of fits here. But Christian Kirk, 6 for 78 and 2 touchdowns. Bravo. Evan Ingram, 7 for 46 and an end zone target that I think was too high off the top of my head. Marvin Jones, 3 for 33 in this one. Travis Etienne, 3 for 33 as well. Also 9 for 20 as a runner. And then James Robinson, speaking of happy, Bloom.
Woo.
Doesn't James Robinson make you happy?
Yeah.
Like 23-64 and a touchdown. It's not a great yards per carry, 2.8. Don't make me do math or just look at the box score. But like, you can just tell it's like it's his backfield. It's him. And it's almost as if the team, including Lawrence, is feeding off of James Robinson. And you freaking love to see it.
You do. You do. And, we'll see. Obviously, the AFC South really up for grabs. You saw Lawrence come out here 8 for 8 on the opening drive. Right? They go for it on 4th on the opening drive. Short, high percentage passing. You get everything on schedule, those scripted drives. So, again, that's Doug Peterson. And this offense has been much more script. I was going to say crisp. It's kind of a weird palindrome. Crisp on script. But the point is that you see the confidence building for Lawrence, and a lot of that's Christian Kirk. And look, Christian Kirk's not a traditional number 1 receiver, even though they paid him like a number 1. He's a speed slot, but they're scheming him open, and he's winning, and they're doing things to clear out space for him, and it's working. And Christian Kirk, everybody who's high on him, I know Evan Silva, among others, a lot of people pounding the table for him. Yeah, it looks good because they are emphasizing him. They had a plan, and they're enacting that plan. You saw a touchdown to Christian Kirk on another 4th down where Lawrence rolls out. He could have easily gotten the first down as a runner, but it gets the ball out of his hand at the last second to Kirk. And then you're going to spread the ball around. So it looks like it's Kirk, and week to week, nobody necessarily is going to emerge as a consistent threat, but there's enough talent in this passing game. Remember, they threw some money around Evan Ingram, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk. They still have Marvin Jones. So they have some receiving talent here to spread the ball around, and it's working. He's patient, and I think that at least in Superflex 2 quarterback leagues, Lawrence isn't going to win your league for you, but at least he's going to return what you invested in him. But yeah, the other fantasy idea here is James Robinson. They thought they were going to split carries, Robinson, ETN. And look, Robinson, Indy's run defense is good. Indy, remember how they made Dameon Pierce? Look, we'll talk about Dameon Pierce a little bit later on. So Indy's run defense is good. We look ahead to Kansas City next week and say, well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire may not have some big runs in that one, but that you can pass on. You can pass on them so easily. So I think that this is just a situation where James Robinson, even though he wasn't efficient, had the big long run for the touchdown, which helps set the tone. ETN, you still see the explosiveness. He's still a what-the-heck flex. You could always break a big play in any given week, but he's just not going to be featured in this offense. And you have Jacksonville going to the Chargers, getting some ideas.
Getting those ideas, Bloom. Make sure when you say super flex, you pronounce the L.
Yeah.
Don't want to say a sorry, Joe, there. By the way, look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now. Look. I have. I don't know if you can tell. And yeah, I've been drinking. I don't know if you can tell, but that's a stormtrooper's helmet.
Oh, that's
in my
nice.
glass. Yeah,
You're our
see?
captain. Where's your coin changer?
Captain, my captain. Watch film wearing nothing but a captain's hat and a coin changer. And that's a weird transition to the Giants and the Panthers. Brian Dable wearing the captain's hat. How about that? Is that a good transition?
Yeah.
And who the hell's going to believe in Carolina? Seriously. Now, my third revenue stream is back, Bloom. It's called the NFL and prop bets. But looking at this game, before the game, you're like, am I gonna throw money down? Gambling's illegal at Bushwood, sir. Am I gonna throw money down on Carolina? Like, no, like God, no. So 1916, the Giants do it barely. I'm gonna go do it. Baker Mayfield, 14 of 29, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, no INTs. The touchdown to DJ Moore, 3 for 43 and a touch. Robbie Anderson, 3 for 32. Who cares? Christian McCaffrey, 4 for 26 as a receiver, 15 for 102 as a runner. So you're putting your chips on Christian, good. You put a chip on DJ Moore, good. Why the hell do you have chips with Robbie Anderson? Bad. But it's Carolina. Like, this is what you're going to get. This is what they have because their owner is meddlesome and wants to be Jerry Jones. Well, this is what you get, a bad football team.
Yeah. And it's not so much that the team doesn't have good players, but you see the miscues. Chuba Hubbard fumbles the opening kickoff. Robbie Anderson fumbles. And look, the Giants only get field goals out of those, but this is how you lose the game. Shi Smith, who the team really likes, has a drop in the red zone that could have been a touchdown. You finally do get a DJ Moore touchdown. But is this what his ceiling games look like? 3 for 43 and a touchdown? Baker Mayfield, killing the value of fantasy receivers everywhere. You did finally see the Panthers feed Christian McCaffrey as the game went on. And I know that you don't want to run him into the ground, but 19 touches in a close game doesn't sound like enough. Not to me, especially not in the passing game, only 4 receptions. This is easy. Make it easy. Isn't that what made Baker Mayfield so good in college season? Make it easy for him. Well, here's how you make it easy. You just get the ball in Christian McCaffrey's hands. This is not a good offense, but the Giants defense, we got to put a little bit of respect on their name, as it wasn't that easy for Carolina. And the Giants, this is one where I think Panthers fans are in that conflicted zone where you kind of root against your team because you want to move on from the Matt Rule era. And you want David Tepper, hopefully, to bring someone in the building that can be a counterbalance to him and say, you're not just going to jerk everything around anymore. You don't solve problems by yelling at somebody and then just getting a quarterback that somebody else didn't want. That's not going to fix it. Okay, Matt Rule's not going to fix it. And New Orleans coming to town next week, not going to fix it.
Not going to fix it. Giants, they're trying to fix it. Not necessarily with Daniel Jones. Speaking of yelling at players, there's Daniel Jones, 22 of 34, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Daniel Bellinger, San Diego State Aztecs, baby, 1 for 18 at a touchdown there. Richie James, 5 for 51. If you picked him up and played him, that's what you get. That's 10 points PPR, so whatever. There's David Sills. Isn't David Sills one? I think I talked to David at a Super Bowl years ago. I think it was the Minnesota one. No, it wasn't the Minnesota one. Which one was it? Miami. I think it was Miami. Anyway, I think he was the kid who got the scholarship when he was in like 7th grade from USC, right? Before he transferred, because he transferred. I may be misremembering that, but his agent's Lee Steinberg, and Lee's a friend of the show. So that's why I talked to David at that whatever Super Bowl it was. But anyway, David Sills actually out there doing stuff. Nobody starts him. Whatever. Sterling Shepard, 6 for 34 in this one. Saquon Barkley, 21 for 72, so 3.4 a carry. But they win, Bloom. So at the end of the day, like, stuff didn't work like I did last week. Can you do what you did earlier, please? The answer is no for anybody, but they win, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, they're 2-0. And they're facing Dallas next week. That's a winnable game against Cooper Rush. You had a Jones scramble on 4th down, but got sacked in goal to go situation in the second field goal drive off of the turnover. Then you actually had him lead a good drive. And Daniel Bellinger gets his first NFL touchdown there. Again, Sills contributing. Gano gets the go-ahead field goal, and they do enough. For fantasy, I know Saquon Barkley wasn't dominant, and we'll watch Tennessee tomorrow night and see how much of Barkley, he's back, he's going to win leagues, was just the Tennessee defense. We're going to face Buffalo, so it probably won't look good. And again, we're going to put some respect on this Carolina defense for what they did against Barkley. They contained him, but it wasn't enough. Kadarius Toney at least played, didn't do much. Don't drop him. Don't start him. We know he's good if he can ever get healthy and out of the doghouse. But at least with the fans, the Giants are out of the doghouse because They're 2-0. Doesn't matter who they beat. Doesn't matter how it sees. You can see it. If you get a win in the NFL, that is a special thing.
Special things abound in our next game, and it's not the first time that Tom Brady as a Buccaneers beat the Saints. He knocked them out of the playoffs. What was that?
Yeah.
2 years ago, Bloom?
That was
Whatever it
Drew
was.
Brees last
Drew
game.
Brees last year, yeah. So 3 years ago.
Unforced errors.
Yeah. So it's their first regular season win over the New Orleans Saints. So it's Tampa Bay 20. It's the Saints 10. Tommy Brady, without Mike Evans for a lot of this game because he got thrown out. How do you beat Marshawn Lattimore? You start throwing. What do you like? Tackle him and then punch him and get him to punch back and get thrown out. Both of you got thrown out. So 3 for 61 before he was tossed. No Julio Jones. No Chris Godwin in this one. So Brashad Perryman, got a soft spot for Brashad, but 3 for 45 and 1 touchdown there. Scotty Miller, 3 for 34, making some tough sideline catches. Russell Gage, 5 for 28. It's not really working there. Speaking of not working, Cameron Brate, 1 for 9. Leonard Fournette, 24 for 65. So hard fought, 2.7 yards per carry. And Tommy Brady very reserved as 190 yards and a touchdown. So Tampa Bay gets the win. Again, defense and, beating New Orleans in New Orleans for Tom Brady as a Buccaneer has been difficult.
Yeah, it has been. And it wasn't an easy day for him. This game was 3-0 for a lot of it. And things broke open in the fourth quarter. I'll just do a little bit of a game recap here, because it looked like the Saints were going to drive down and take the lead, and just any kind of lead in the fourth quarter probably would have held up the way the defense were playing. But Mark Ingram fumbled at the 10-yard line. Then you had a situation where the Saints stopped the Bucs, were about to get the punt, and that's whenever there was a giant scrap. Basically, Lattimore and Brady were jawing at each other. Leonard Fournette, who's from right down the street from me here in the South Ward, went to St. Aug. He actually came in to push Lattimore. Lattimore pushes him back. And here comes Mike Evans screaming in to flatten Lattimore. I don't know why both of them got thrown out of the game, but that's how it goes. Lesson to everybody out there. The second one, not the first one, the second one often gets the same punishment, even though they didn't start it. Brady didn't play badly. But between offensive line issues, remember Donovan Smith, his left tackle, was out for this one. Offensive line interior problems. His number 2 receiver, his number 3 receiver were out. Russell Gage probably isn't healthy. Mike Evans might not be completely healthy. Leonard Fournette might not be healthy. So it was definitely playing with not all of your arsenal. And they did get down into the red zone early, and the Saints stopped Leonard Fournette. There was a fumbled snap by Brady. And by the way, there was also a play to keep a drive going on a Cameron Brate catch, I think, where it was just a phantom unnecessary roughness. The player for the Saints actually lowered his shoulder, and it was Brate putting his head down, bracing for the contact that caused the shoulder. I mean, it wasn't even really helmet-to-helmet contact, but it looked bad, kind of. I have no idea. Saints fans are used to the idea that, well, it was the refs. Turning point in the game, also the refs. There wasn't really a lot of good play here by the Tampa Bay offense. Tampa Bay's offense needs bodies. New Orleans defense is good. It wasn't the New Orleans defense that broke down in this one. By the way, Green Bay coming down to Tampa, the Bay of Pigs game next week.
Jameis Winston, 1 touchdown, 3 INTs, and he was banged up. What is it, like a dislocated back? What is his injury?
It's transverse process. So if you look at
what the hell is that?
If you look at the classic skeleton, there's these little knobby things at the end of the vertebrae, and it's when those get broken off. So it's not anything that compromises the spine. It's purely a pain injury. I think Dante Culpepper had it. Matthew Stafford has had it. Tony Romo's had it. It's just a pain threshold injury. But they say broken vertebrae. It's not something that's can paralyze. It's just those little knobs. If you go look at your, I know everyone has a skeleton. We have 2 out on our front porch. Everyone has one, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's New Orleans.
Yeah.
So there you go. Chris Olave, 5 for 80. He's watching Garrett Wilson be like, I can do that. 5 for 80. Michael Thomas, beautiful, wonderful, 6 for 65 and a touchdown. But that sideline catch, dude.
Yeah,
like it's just vintage Thomas. Juwan Johnson, 4 for 40, dynasty alert. Jarvis Landry, 4 for 25 in this one. Tony Jones was out there. Liked him at the Shrine game years ago. 2 for 8 as a runner, 2 for 12 as a receiver. Nobody started him. You started Mark Ingram, 10 for 60. No, I'm a Kamara in this one. Dwayne Washington running well as he generally does. Doesn't do a whole lot, but he runs well when he gets the opportunity. So the Saints just fall apart. Those Winston 3 INTs certainly didn't help.
No, and that happened after. right? This is Winston trying to do everything late in the game when they fell behind. Early in the game, Mark Ingram actually ran really well and helped key a field goal drive to open. But then you have that Ingram fumble, which really was one of the main turning points. At that point, Winston starts, and the Bucs said, we know that if you press him, he's going to make bad decisions. Pick six, another bad decision where he airmailed Juwan Johnson, but remember Johnson for especially tight end premium leagues. Cecil was saying, got 7 targets in this game, 4 catches. And boy, were they trying to feed Chris Olave. Dwayne McFarland with a stat, 365 air yards every day, one for every day of the year. He did finally catch a 51-yarder late that almost got them to tighten this game back up to, say, 2017, and he fumbled. Without being touched, he fumbled. But you like to see them getting him involved. Jarvis Landry not as involved. Michael Thomas with his kryptonite. Carlton Davis. By the way, Davis threw a punch at him. Can you tell him turning into a Saints homer, Cease? Carl Davis threw a punch at him when he caught the touchdown. No call, nothing. Hey, it's the Saints. In some ways, it's almost a good outcome, Cease, for Saints fans to feel like there's another grievance against the refs. Yes, the win didn't happen. But number one, you made Tom Brady mad, and there's a lot of good clips of Tom Brady like, come on. And the refs, you got another reason to say the refs are against us. Everyone's against us. Winston is Winston. Tampa Bay's defense is good. We know that. Tampa Bay's defense is one of the best. Andy Dalton's back there. Andy Dalton is saying, hey, if Winston's going to continue to throw away games at the end, I'm here. So just keep that in the back of your mind as they go to Carolina.
We're all Lions fans, right?
Yes.
Aren't we all Lions fans? I mean, it certainly seems like
you should be. If you have a heart, if you're a human being with a soul.
If you watched Hard Knocks and you love Dan Campbell, you are a Lions fan. 36-27 over the Washington Commanders. Still should be Cobra Commanders. Carson Wentz saying, I'm not Matt Ryan. 30-46, 337, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. Curtis Samuel, 7 for 78 and a touch. Jahan Dotson, man, kid's got a nose for the end zone. 4 for 59 and a touch. Logan Thomas, 3 for 37 and a touch. Terry McLaurin, 4 for 75 in this one. J.D. McKissick, 7 catches, 54 yards. Also 3 carries, 9 yards. Antonio Gibson, 14 for 28 and 1 rushing touchdown. A couple catches, 13 yards there as well. So the Commanders come out and try, and the hard-charging Lions just say no.
Cease, what do you say that? You know what my brain wants to fill it in with? Washington going Commandos.
Sorry, you Joe? Fill it in with underwear, and I fill it in with G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
that sounds where our brains are at, right?
Knowing is half the battle. There were some moments in here that weren't great for Wentz. Aiden Hutchinson, speaking of Detroit, introducing himself to Wentz a few times, 3 sacks early on in this one. Wentz also gets sacked in the end zone for a safety. And it looked like, okay, sure, Wentz was great in week 1, but what about, even though Detroit's defense didn't look good against Philly, well, Wentz actually got it going in the second half. Jahan Dotson, Mr. Contested Catch. And this is one of those things, don't assume all the contested catch guys are 6'3", 220-pound guys that can hang in the air, because Jahan Dotson is not that big, not even close, but he got a touchdown. Curtis Samuel, yeah, this is his usage. So let the Amon-Ra St. Brown, we're going to lavish praise on him, but Curtis Samuel is going to get that similar kind of usage, manufactured touches for him, short, intermediate catches, set him up for one after the catch, and he held on after a huge hit for that touchdown. No, don't think we're going to get as many should I play Curtis Samuel questions next week. As Washington was driving to tighten the game, there was a really good deflection interception for the Lions, slowing things down, but then Washington's not done. McLaurin makes a great catch. McLaurin's going to be fine. Logan Thomas gets a touchdown. He's now back in our good graces as long as Carson Wentz is slinging it. And remember, for about a month last year, he was slinging it for the Colts, and then everything fell apart. Gibson at least got a touchdown for you, a drive that McLaurin set up. And Detroit's offense kept the pressure on, but actually looked like Washington might tighten this up again. And this is Riverboat Ron. I think he has the team pulling together. I think that they put everything behind them. Even Wentz, you got a clean slate when you come here, but they're down 9 with a couple of minutes left, and he takes the extra point, which Chase Stewart and Morrill Tremblay taught me a long time ago, that there's absolutely no way you should kick the extra point, because if you don't make the 2, you need to know right away, and they missed the extra point. And that basically turned this one into a game that was going to be interesting in the final minutes into one that was not interesting, and Washington's going to play Philadelphia next week.
Bloom, look at my... I usually go to this says
what are you showing off?
Meet Firefly. He knows where the bodies are buried.
Ooh.
And that's the hard master and the reflection of his mask. Anyway, I usually go to a garage sale, like a couple garage sales a week, looking for comic books. So I found some old GI Joes. I was happy
Very
about
nice.
that. Sorting comics, talking comics.
Gru.
Oh, I got a Gru. Yeah, I got a Gru comic the other day up in Arvada.
Good.
I found old Gru the Wanderer,
Mad
number 1
magazine, baby. Yeah.
So there you go. That's right. It's not Gru the Wanderer time. It's time to talk about the Lions. Dan Campbell, the Wanderer, the Barbarian. Dan Campbell. How about that? 20 of 34, 256 for Jared Goff, 4 touchdowns on the day. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 for 116 and 2 touchdowns. Josh Reynolds, 3 for 38 and a touch. DeAndre Swift, he had 2 for 31 and a touchdown, and then 5 for 56 on the ground. Most of it was on the 50-yard carry. And he came into this game banged up. So, all right, there you go. He's banged up. Was it ankle bloom? Top of my head. So there you go. Jamal Williams comes in 12 for 53 in this one, a catch for 7 yards as well. TJ Hawkinson, 3 for 26. So on a day where Jared Goff throws for 4 touchdowns, Hawkinson gets 3 for 26.
Yeah.
On 7 targets.
Yeah.
That's not working.
No, Hawkinson looks a little stiff out there, not exactly fluid. I do think that you will see him have a chance to bounce back as teams are going to probably have to do what they can to take away Amon-Ra St. Brown. And we got so many indications in the offseason. This was a really good test of fantasy analysis. We're not going to base anything on just one player and what you did about with just one player. But Amon-Ra St. Brown was the man down the stretch for this team as that streak, 8 games in a row with 8 or more catches. Only Antonio Brown and Michael Thomas have done that. He did that today. It was the same offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. He was the de facto offensive coordinator after Anthony Lynn was deposed. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Ben Johnson love each other. We had one Lions beat writer tell us this summer they're running the offense through Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they are, and they should. And Amon-Ra St. Brown's awesome. He also had like a 58-yard end around in addition to what he did as a receiver.
Right.
See, so
right.
If we're drafting today, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2nd round pick, maybe even a late 1st round pick.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that simple until teams figure out what to do. And you saw DeAndre Swift. He looks so good. He's taking it up another level. He's going to be a superstar, even on the bum ankle with the big play here. The touchdown catch, it was a hot read. And hey, Jared Goff, good job. Hot read. They're coming. Swift fell down. He caught the ball and fell down, was able to get up and basically run through the defense for the touchdown. And this is going to be good for Jamal Williams just because this is good offense. Maybe not for DJ Chark, who was a goose egg. It was actually Josh Reynolds getting the touchdown. And another one where he caught the ball inside the 5, and then they called his number again for the touchdown. Love seeing that justice. Detroit's defense is also going to keep this offense having to continue to score, right? They're not going to have a lot of garbage time if their defense can't hold these offenses down, but you love seeing the Lions get the win, and you hopefully love watching the Detroit-Minnesota game. That might be the highest scoring game of the week next week.
It is time for some NFC West love, Bloom. Are you ready for Seattle and San Francisco and some, to talk about with Trey Lance just a little bit? 27-7 the final score. 49ers get the win. Seattle's Geno Smith goes 197 yards, no touchdowns, 1 INT. Tyler Lockett, 9 for 107. DK Metcalf, 4 for 35. You're drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown over DK Metcalf if you drafted today. No doubt about that. Noah Fant, 2 for 11. That's not working. You saw Kenneth Walker play, 4 for 10. That didn't work. Rashad Penny, 6 for 15. Didn't work. Do I need to talk about anybody here? Will Dissly didn't do anything because he's not playing the Broncos.
Yeah.
And Seattle struggled on the road in Santa Clara.
They did. I think the touchdown was a blocked field goal. And it wasn't because Geno Smith wasn't accurate. He was accurate. There was even one downfield ball to DK Metcalf where Metcalf made an incredible catch, and it was nullified by penalty. So you just see this is a feeble offense, as we thought. And that's basically the story. It was Lockett's turn this week. So Lockett and Metcalf are both really, really good players still. And Geno Smith is at least a functional, accurate passer. So let's call them boom bust wide receiver 3 flexes, but that's what they are. I think we were drafting Lockett maybe a little below that. Metcalf maybe a little bit higher than that. And that's it. And the running game, and what's fascinating here, Cecil, again, is Russell Wilson leaves and they're passing like 2-3 times more than they're running. Okay. You saw Kenneth Walker getting going, but Rashad Penny still doing his thing. So Travis Homer, when they fall behind, he's going to be in. So no useful running back at all. How did Denver lose to this team? Can Atlanta beat this team? I don't know. It's not fun when bad teams play, and that's what Denver looked like again. We'll get to that.
Because Nathaniel Hackett needs to be retired
already.
49ers side, and this is where we go, oh, good thing you kept Jimmy, huh? Trey Lance, 2 for 3 at 30 yards, and then 3 for 13, and then out. Here comes Jimmy Garoppolo to save the day, 13 or 21, 154, 1 touchdown, no INTs, also a rushing touchdown. Kyle Juszczyk with a rushing touchdown. Jeff Wilson, 18 for 84. Tyrion Davis-Price, 14 for 33. Deebo Samuel, 4 for 53. Those are all on the ground. Brandon Ayuk, 5 for 63. Deebo, 5 for 44. Ross Dwelly, 1 for 38. And the lone receiving touchdown, of course, coming from Jimmy. And then, no George Kittle in this one. So you weren't expecting that. And, I think who in the chat room said that? Does Trey Lance take another snap for the 49ers?
Maybe not. Yeah.
That's not sad. Because next year they're going to pick up somebody else.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, things change real fast around here, like Joe says. That's what I mean. Look, Trey Lance is 22. He's got a lot of football ahead of him. We'll see. Garoppolo, and it was so interesting how they structured Garoppolo's contract to have about $7 million in incentives. And the NFL, interestingly enough, when they put incentives in contracts, the NFL rates whether they are likely to be earned, LTBE. And if they are likely to be earned, then the team actually they count it against the cap. Isn't that fascinating? That they don't let you play those games. They let you play a lot of games with the cap. Right. But if you put incentives in that they deem likely to be earned, basically based on your track record, and like 5.6 million of the 7 million was deemed likely to be earned. And isn't it wild how it works out? It's just bad luck, really, for Trey Lance. He was letting a teammate pull him up after the play. Like, I don't think Trey Lance knew that his ankle was broken, but when he tried to walk on it, yeah, it was broken. So Jimmy Garoppolo was in. He looked good. He got a touchdown. I mean, look, this offense is just going to look smoother. Now, granted, if Trey Lance had more time, this offense might have gotten to that smoothness level where maybe not quite as smooth as Garoppolo, but when you add in Lance's running ability, you have more dimensions to attack a defense. Not going to get to see that this year. It is Jeff Wilson's backfield after all. It was Tyrion Davis-Price ahead of Jordan Mason, but maybe we'll see more Jordan Mason next week against Denver, by the way. Rematch of a Super Bowl that Broncos fans probably don't want to revisit. You have Tyrion Davis-Price not doing very much. So it is Jeff Wilson's backfield, and Lance not being in could help him, although it was Garoppolo getting the quarterback sneak. Brandon Ayuk's okay. Look, the whole passing game is going to get a lift here with Jimmy Garoppolo in. Maybe the team will. And, it was one of those things where you could feel the pall cast over the crowd. The teams gathered around Trey Lance when he was carted off. But then, Garoppolo comfortable. This team comfortable. Maybe Kyle Shanahan's comfortable now. Maybe Kyle Shanahan willed this with his brain. I don't know, but I think that Denver should be worried facing the San Francisco team next week.
They definitely should be worried, and they know how to Jimmy rig the offense for Jimmy. They've had to do it before, Bloom, and they'll continue to do that. Now you get an out. Get an out. How often in life can you say that? Yeah. Because you put yourself in a position where all of your chips are in on Trey Lance. Your future as a coach and as a GM for both John and Kyle is put on the back of Trey Lance. Now they get an out.
Yeah.
They can take another crack at it. They can go get another quarterback, as the chat room is guessing correctly who that is. Anyway, you get another chance that doesn't include Trey Lance, and it's unfortunate for this young man. And I, hate to put an end to his 49ers career, but that's how this league works, man. It's a brutal game. So I always say, get your money.
Yes.
Let's
get that bag. Lamar Jackson, please get that bag today.
Please get an agent. Let's talk about the Falcons putting up a fight, man, over the Rams or under the Rams. Under the Rams? 31-27. The Rams get the win over the Falcons. What I meant to say is the Falcons put up a fight. 196, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs for Marcus Mariota. Drake London, 8 for 86 and a touch. It was Olamide Zaccheaus, 2 for 21, and the other touchdown, Kadaro Hodge, 2 for 57 in this one. Kyle Pitts, 2 for 19. It's not working. Cordell Patterson, 10 for 41. Then Tyler Algier had 10 for 30 in this contest. So again, the Falcons put up more of a fight than I thought they would, Bloom.
Yeah.
And almost win.
Another one of these games where the team in the lead let up and the Falcons did not let up. Falcons were the team that I don't want to say they let up. I think Jameis Winston just made plays against them. So they're spreading the ball around early. They missed a field goal. Mariota's playing okay. I mean, at least he's showing he should hang around the league as a solid backup quarterback. You did see Cordell Patterson go to the medical tent in this one. Patterson not involved as a receiver, which is a little bit baffling to me. You did see more Tyler Algier, but if they're splitting the backfield close to equally, that's not great. Kyle Pitts drew a long pass interference. That doesn't count for anything. You know, it was Zacchaeus and Drake London, by the way. Drake London, I think the stat was going over 5 and 70 in his first 2 games is pretty rarefied air for a rookie wide receiver. Now, some of that is all the attention that Kyle Pitts draws, but oftentimes rookie wide receivers are drafted into situations where there are players that are more prominent in the mind of the defense. And then this game was out of hand, basically. Falcons kept fighting. They got a block punt touchdown. They tightened this game up to the point where they got an interception, or actually a fumble from Cooper Kupp. Darren Hall forces it and recovers it. And the next thing you know, hey, Falcons can take the lead with a touchdown. They're driving, and Jalen Ramsey saves the game for the Rams. And, you know, this isn't exactly how the Rams drew it up. It was a bounce back game for the Rams, but it was also a game that shows that mental toughness to finish out the win. It was 28-3, Cease. 28-3 in this one. Doug Farrar said everybody outside of the Rams fan base was rooting for them to come back from 28-3. Well, maybe not down here in New Orleans. Down here in New Orleans, they probably were wanting to preserve 28-3. But yeah, Atlanta, Seattle next week might be slightly better than the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game.
Might be. Bloom, super quick. Do you watch The Boys?
No.
You need to watch The Boys.
Okay.
It's on Amazon Prime, and then you'll get all the references to Tom Brady being Homelander, because Tom Brady is exactly Homelander.
Okay.
Anyway, I've given you homework, Bloom. Let's move on and talk about the Rams side of things. And Matthew Stafford, 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs, 2 of them to Cooper Kupp, of course, 11 for 108 and 2 for Cooper. Allen Robinson did something, 4 for 53 and a touch. Tyler Higbee did something, 7 for 71. That's enough. Darrell Henderson, 10 for 47 and a rushing touchdown. Cam Akers, 15 for 44 on the ground today. So they get the lead. They let off. Atlanta scored 17 in the 4th, and thank God for Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp was actually quiet. They really had an emphasis on Allen Robinson. Could have had more than 1 touchdown on this one, at least based on the play calls. Did get the touchdown early. Sigh of relief. Cooper Kupp didn't do much and still ended up with 2 touchdowns and double-digit catches. Even had that fumble in this one, but you know he's going to make this offense go. Darrell Henderson in a committee. Looks like this is a split backfield again. At least Henderson got the touchdown if he played him. And there was the production from the backfield as a whole. And Cam Akers looked good, by the way. So, again, if you're looking for your Achilles narrative, he's just never going to be the same. He looked like Cam Akers out there, and I think did a lot to get back in the circle of trust. And Tyler Higbee, apparently with Van Jefferson out, it's Tyler Higbee who's going to be, at the very least, a solid PPR play as the targets are there, including in the red zone. I think it's there for him to do more potentially as next week, dun, 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 the Arizona defense. So, yeah, what happened, Raiders?
Now, what happened? The Raiders going to Raider. What happened in the next game up? Should we talk about Happy Fun Baby Star, Bloom?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know that's my nickname for Nathaniel Hackett? Happy Fun Baby Star. It's actually from our friend Andrew Garda, who wrote A Treatment. A fantastic movie idea, by the way. I wish Andrew would push to get it done, because it's Happy Fun Baby Star. It's based off of like the Hardee's logo, Carl's Jr., right? Same thing.
Yeah.
Little Happy Fun Baby Star. So Nathaniel Hackett is Happy Fun Baby Star. Hey, everything all positive and it's all good and everything's good and we lost to Seattle, but it's not my fault. But it's kind of my fault, but not really. And then I'm gonna totally. Nathaniel Hackett is a terrible head coach. Terrible. It's taken 2 games, and I can tell you he's a terrible head coach. He has no idea what he's doing. The fans had to chant the play clock. We talked about this before the show. The fans, because Nathaniel Hackett is so bad about getting plays in, it's at the point where Russell Wilson needs to go like Peyton Manning did with Adam Gase, when
Mhm.
Adam Gase would say something, right? And where's I don't have my clipboard in here, but Adam Gase would have his clipboard. He'd be like, "I was around," and then Peyton would listen and be like, and then not do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if Russell Wilson does that, and I don't think Russell Wilson's enough of an aloha to do that, which is shocking because a lot of people say Russell Wilson's an aloha. Like, I don't actually think he is. Peyton Manning is, for sure. And I love Peyton. I'll call him right now. But, like, Peyton Manning is that guy where it's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. I know what to do. I'm smarter than you. Russell Wilson needs to do that because Hackett wants to constantly prove he's the smartest guy in the room. And he turns out looking like the dunce in the corner. Like, it's just terrible. The design of this offense, they don't figure it out with Javonte until later. I'm totally skipping over the Houston side. Houston, hey, 16-9.
Damian
Broncos
Pierce is
win.
back.
Damian Pierce actually ran. Yeah, Nico Collins did some things. The Broncos lost Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
That's bad. Anyway, please talk about the Texans, Bloom, so that I can quickly get to the Broncos because I got a lot to say.
They play the Bears next week. Is there going to be a game worse than Pittsburgh, Cleveland? It's probably Houston and Chicago. And yeah, Pierce is back. You know, Nico Collins a little bit. Davis Mills isn't great. And it just happened that Denver was lucky to be playing not a very good team today.
Not a very good team today. And, well, the Broncos fans were booing. I don't think they were booing Russell Wilson, Saline. I think they were booing Hackett, like the fans mostly, and certainly the Walton Penner group. When you're worth $70 billion, why do we have billionaires, Bloom? When you're worth $70 billion, you're not going to sit around and be like, it's fine with Happy Fun Baby Star. And I'm not saying he's going to get fired. I still think that's Matt Rule to be the first coach to be fired. But you've got to be better than this. It's terrible. The fact that Houston's awful is the only reason Denver won because they were less awful.
Yeah.
And it's not really the talent. Now, Jerry Jeudy was lost in this game, shoulder injury. We'll talk about it. But Cortland Sutton's always been Russell Wilson's favorite. When Jeudy had the 100-yard game because he had a 67-yard catch in week 1, and then people were chirping at me like, "Did you still think?" Yes. Somebody asked me, somebody on Twitter, like, "How can you say that?" And I go, "I've seen every throw that Russell Wilson's made as a Bronco. I'm at every practice. I talk to him multiple times a week. Like, huh? Like, what? You're asking me? You're questioning me. And I'm not going to be an aloha like Peyton Manning, but you're questioning me.
But you did say, are you questioning me?
Yeah. I'm like, are you questioning me? Like, are you threatening me? Cornolio, like, seriously? Seriously. How can you say Sutton's his favorite? Because I'm there. You have a key to the building, you moron. Anyway, Sutton, 7 for 122. Sorry, Bloom. Sorry for yelling. Jerry Jeudy had a catch for 11 yards. He's the greatest. Like, whatever. Javonte Williams, 15 for 75, just running his ass off. Melvin Gordon, 10 for 47. I'm glad he didn't fumble the game away. Montreal Washington was not a good pick. I have to fight with so many fans because here's the key for the media, Bloom. And I'm going to say the media in general, not just football media.
Okay.
Everything's okay. Nothing's wrong. Or if it is wrong, it's somebody else's fault. And I don't care who the hell's anywhere. That's for the media for, let's say, the last 10 years, Bloom. It's probably longer than that. But let's just say that. Because here's what happens in Broncos country. It's fine. Everything George Payton's done is fine. Nathaniel Hackett's fine. It's not fine. It was embarrassing. The Broncos won, but they were embarrassed. How do you get embarrassed when you win? Oh, you have a coach that can't use timeouts. He went from a field goal to a field goal attempt to a timeout to a punt. That's how terrible Nathaniel Hackett is. So, like, you'd think, oh, he's an offensive genius. What did they scored? 16 points in 2 games?
Yeah.
I had people chirping me like they're going to drop 35 on the Texans. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
They're going to drop 35. I got to see it first, baby. They scored 36 points in 2 games or 32 points, Bloom. Don't make me do math. But, like, when you try to prove this is an Adam Gase thing, except Gase had Peyton. Peyton is the ultimate deodorant because, again, Gase would tell him what to do and Peyton would tell him to F off. Sorry, Joe. Are we adults or not? Like, Peyton Manning was never going to tell Adam. It was never going to listen to Adam Gase. If Russell Wilson could summon that within him to truly be the aloha that he needs to be, I'm asking you, this message is sponsored by being an aloha. Yeah. Thank you, Russell Wilson. If you could just please ignore your head coach, you would be much better off because your head coach obviously doesn't have a clue about clock management, play calls, delay of games. They're still, I think, the most penalized team in the NFL. They're lacking discipline. They're without Justin Simmons now, without Pat Surtain now, without Jerry Jeudy now. Like, Montreal, Washington's not a good pick. Sorry, everybody. When Jalen Watson, and this is who I've been on record, Bloom, who I've said the Broncos should have drafted in the 5th round. Isaiah Pacheco, it's pretty good. Jalen Watson had the pick 6 to win the game on Thursday night. And Tariq Woolen, who's 6'4" and runs a 4.2 40. You can't tell me a Division II return man was a better choice. He wasn't even out there for one play. They had a call. I think it was a timeout, or was it a penalty? I think it was one of the timeouts that they used up because they had the punt team out there, and the freaking returner wasn't out there because he's from Sanford. Like, again, nice kid, quick kid, fast kid, but you can't tell me that was a good pick. Please, for the love of God, this Broncos team is so embarrassing. It was supposed to be different, and after 2 weeks, Bloom, expect to get hammered by Jimmy. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to tear your ass up. A week from today, start all your 49ers. You heard it here first. Start everyone against the Denver Broncos. And Najee Evero's fine. But special teams sucks. Defense is okay for about a half. Usually the second half, Eddie. The offense, and it's not Russ. Russ isn't what he used to be, but everyone already knew that. It's not Russ. It's Hackett. Anyway, sorry for yelling.
Yeah. No, this is your TED Talk. And this was Cecil's TED Talk. Be an aloha if you're a quarterback and your coach is terrible. What can you say here? You know, isn't it funny, Cease, that here we are and we're watching a Russell Wilson team and we're saying they need to run the ball more.
Right.
They need to take the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands. But that's where we are.
Look at Devin. Look at Devin in the chat room. What's up, Devin?
Yeah.
Shout out, Devin.
Yeah. Russ can't cook. Russ can't cook. The backfield needs to cook, and Russ just needs to serve. He just needs to be your friendly server. Wow. What can we really say here? Cortland Sutton's going to get his, and that's just how it's going to go. Jerry Jeudy with the injury here. See, you know what I have in my notes here? This was truly an ugly win. We say ugly wins a lot. This is the quintessential ugly win. Like, put it in the dictionary as an ugly win. You're going to keep Javonte Williams in the back in your lineup, hoping for the big plays, but no, he's not going to get as many targets as he did. There was a point in this game, Wilson was like 4 for 15. And look, put it on Hackett, put it on Wilson, put it on whoever, but this was not what was expected. This is not what was promised. And we will see what kind of adjustments they can make. But I'll go with your theory. The Broncos fans were hostile. They were hostile to their team in a win. During the win, when they were trying to close out the win, you could feel it. And that's not usually how it goes, Cease, right? Usually everybody calls in and wants you to tell them good things. But make me feel better. And maybe, Cease, maybe this is your influence, man. Maybe your TED Talks are working.
Well, maybe the fan base is just fed up. It's been 6 years. And Hackett doesn't realize this because everything's super and listen, I'm a positive person. I've had these talks with Von Miller before about being a positive person. Like, you generally try to be positive because there's a lot of heavy stuff out there. Heavy stuff.
Being positive is its own reward, and being negative is its own punishment.
Yes, very much so. But there's also the fact of being a realist. Like, after the Seattle game, when he's like, it totally wasn't my fault. Everything is excuse. Like, dude, be a professional. Go up there. It's on me. It's never going to happen again. Broncos country, you can believe in me. Because he's got 6 years. He's dragging behind him like an albatross. Like, he doesn't realize it. Like, fans are fed up. The Avs won the Stanley Cup. They honored the Avs today. The Stanley Cup was in Power Field at Mile High. Totally got to get the sponsor right. Like, okay, that's the championship levels that this team used to be about, and now they're celebrating a hockey team. Like, that's just ridiculous in Denver. Ridiculous. Anyway, where are we at?
Arizona and Las Vegas, the battle for the desert.
Is that her? Oh no, we still got Bengals and Dallas too. That game. And another one. Is that what Big E'd say? Let's do the Bengals one first, just because that's makes me feel better. Anyway, let's get Devin in the chat room. I love Devin. All right, let's talk Bengals and Cowboys up next. What's wrong with Cincinnati? I suppose it's the offensive line, Bloom. Cooper Rush. And it was the draft. This is how long ago it was, because it was Cortland Sutton's draft. It was the draft in Dallas. My Uber driver was telling me about Cooper Rush. Like, they love him. They freaking love him in Dallas. They're like, Cooper Rush, man, he's the man. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself because we got to talk about Joe Burrow first. 2017, Cowboys get the win. Burrow, a touchdown, no interceptions, 199 yards passing. And then T. Higgins, 6 for 71 in the touch. Jamar Chase, 5 for 54. It's a floor game, everybody. You have Jamar Chase. You'll be fine. Tyler Boyd, 2 for 17. Yeah. Hayden Hurst, 5 for 24. Joe Mixon, 19 for 57 on the ground, and then 3 for 26 as a receiver. But this offensive line gets Joe Burrow sacked 6 times. If there is a player who is on the Andrew Luck path, which means really bright star, gonna get beat to death, gonna retire early, it's Joe Burrow. And I hate to say that, but that's just the God's honest truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the Dallas defense, say what you will for Mike McCarthy and the Dallas organization. I get the feeling the defense has just said, well, we just have to do this ourselves. Dan Quinn, right? I'm saying, well, that's just on us. And they came out like, well, we'll just do it all ourselves then. And like you said, like we said on the show last week, Joe Burrow, you need to protect him from himself. And the offensive line's not doing that. So we're back around to where we were when Burrow, coming back from his knee injury last year, taking too many hits, and they went to a very Joe Mixon power running kind of offense. And maybe that's what they need to do to get this thing calmed down, because it's just not calm in the pocket for Joe Burrow. Now, granted, you face the Steelers and you face the Cowboys, two pretty talented defenses. The offense is just limited. And they can't finish. They can't finish drives. They had 3 field goals in this one. They finally got a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. T. Higgins looked good. Jamar Chase, like you said, Cecil, is a floor game. Hayden Hurst, Tyler Boyd. There's not enough in the pitcher to fill up everyone's cup whenever this offense is like this. Joe Mixon's getting that lead back workload. He was worth his draft capital, even though he didn't have a big game in this one. But this is an 0-2 team, and they got the frisky Jets up next.
Frisky. They're all so frisky, that's for sure. And let's talk about the Cowboys side, and that is Cooper Rush. 19 of 31, 235, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Noah Brown, 5 for 91 and a touch. We've been waiting for that for a while, Bloom. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, 7 for 75. Again, you're fine. Tony Pollard, 4 for 55 as a receiver, and then 9 for 43 and a touchdown. So it was one of those things where, like, you get us close, you're going to get the score as well. Thank you, Tony Pollard. Dalton Schultz, 2 for 18. That's not working. Ezekiel Elliott, 15 for 53 in this contest. And Dallas, Jerry, they pull out the win.
They do. They're back. This team showing pride again. And on the offensive side, maybe there is something to the backup narrative, because you saw great chemistry with Cooper Rush and Noah Brown. And we'll be talking about Noah Brown on the Waiver Wire show. You also saw CeeDee Lamb's going to be okay. He's going to be worth putting in your lineup at least. But we also saw Tony Pollard's good. And they were at least getting him some touches in the passing game. It was kind of a manufactured passing game touch. I think it was like a 6-inch pass, but it was a pass and one right down to the one, and then he got the touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott looks strong running the ball. I'm not sure how many great big holes this offensive line is going to blast open for him, but at least it can keep the offense on schedule. Dalton Schultz got hurt in this one. And you saw them. And Brett Maher, by the way, speaking of redemption, remember, he just run out of town after all of his misses. He's back because their kicking battle did not go well during training camp, and he gets the game winner. And again, the 0-2 Bengals, a big story coming out here, but Dallas gets to play the Giants next week. They can do that. They can go and beat the Giants in East Rutherford. And then, hey, from there, 1 week closer to Dak coming back, and hey, maybe not getting a quarterback, maybe not putting Dak on IR, maybe it'll work out.
There we go. That is almost a wrap. We got 1 game left. Of course, it's Cardinals and it is Raiders and it is overtime. 29-23, Arizona gets the win. Kyler Murray, 31 of 49, 277, 1 up and 1 down, 1 TD, 1 INT. Also a rushing touchdown for Kyler. Darrell Williams leads the way on the ground, 8 for 59 and a touch. Benjamin, 8 for 31. James Conner, 7 for 25 in this one. Zach Ertz, 8 for 75. Marquise Brown, 6 for 68. Greg Dortch, if you played that chip, you were happy. 4 for 55 and a touchdown there as well. And then AJ Green, 3 for 16. Did AJ get hurt on that last play? It seemed like it, Bloom. But anyway, Cardinals get the win and they pull it out. Takes overtime to do it, but they get the win.
Yeah. The Raiders, they're going to be reliving this one because they were so much the superior team for most of this game. And I think, again, this was one of those situations where they checked out. They got the win. No, not quite. Kyler Murray says not quite. This is one. See, you can get married. You got married in Las Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can also
Little Chapel of the Flowers. Carrie Underwood had a music video there. The song like "Don't Even Know His Name" was actually at that church. Not at the same time, of course.
Right.
That was 25 years ago, Bloom. 25 years.
Wow! Congratulations to you. And you guys put 3 great people out in the world, and that's awesome. And you also can get divorced in Las Vegas, so you can get quickie divorces there too. Easy. You can get married easy. You can get divorced easy. I thought maybe the Cardinals, and then they extend Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury through like 2027 in the offseason. Halfway through this game, that looked really, really bad, but somehow it came around. In the first 18 minutes and 20 seconds of this game, they had one offensive drive. I think it was 6 plays, and they punted, which shows you how, okay, the defense is bad, which means Kyler's going to have to do it all, which is good for Kyler, maybe good for the passing game, but the offense actually has to get on the field. Thankfully, the Raiders defense had trouble with Kyler Murray in the second half. Zach Ertz, healthier, getting a lot of catches. Greg Dortch, we'll see whenever Rondale Moore's back, but Dortch has at least some emergency play value in PPR leagues, and he's filling that role well. You also had Marquise Brown getting some benefit from the extended game and the comeback efforts. He had one play that looked like it was going to help them win this game, had the ball knocked out of his hands. They still end up winning the game. James Conner gets hurt. Stop me if you heard this one before, and I'm not trying to. Conner is a cancer survivor, and he's a player who gets so much out of him. So I'm not really trying to dunk on him. But, I mean, there's just things that we come back to. One of them is James Conner's not going to hold up. I think it was an ankle. So that's how you saw that. Indeed, a Eno Benjamin, Darrell Williams split. Williams looking good running the ball, honestly, getting the rushing touchdown here. Eno Benjamin still has a lot to offer for this offense. And the team is waking up. And I guess that's another thing, Cease, that we can say. If week 1 and 2 is the new preseason, then maybe we start judging these teams in week 3. And that's actually pretty good in terms of the Cardinals and the Rams, who almost lost. The Cardinals come back a game they shouldn't have won. Rams almost lose a game they should have won. They play each other next week.
The Vegas Raiders have Derek Carr go 25 of 39, 252, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Davante Adams got a touchdown, but 2 for 12 on the day, 7 targets. Darren Waller got 6 for 50 and a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow, 7 for 59. They used him more. Mac Hollins, 5 for 66. There's a little dynasty tip. Foster Moreau's good at football. 3 for 30. He just happens to be behind Darren Waller. Josh Jacobs, 19 for 69 in this one. Zimmer White actually got on the field for a carry. That's it. Anyway, that's it for the Raiders. They go down at home.
Yeah, what's wild in this one is we saw Derek Carr and Javonte Adams doing that 2-man game back at Fresno State last week. Thought, okay, they gave him the money. They gave up all the draft picks. This is what's going to happen. And Adams, let's go back and watch this and see, because you don't associate the Cardinals with good coverage. They do have good safeties, but Adams not really that involved. Did have a 1-yard touchdown. It was actually Mac Hollins, the other outside starting wide receiver, getting things going early. But then you see Derek Carr spreading the ball around. Darren Waller gets involved. Josh Jacobs, yes, the touchdowns didn't come. Yes, it wasn't a big fantasy game, but all that talk of the running back by committee, no, it's Jacobs' show. And you hope this team can actually finish a win. Maybe he can be part of that and help your fantasy team win. But that's something we're going to take away here. And then Hunter Renfrow, who did start to get things going, but in overtime, he fumbles, and then they recover it, and then he fumbles again. Byron Murphy recovers it and almost let the ball go before he crossed the goal line. Almost did it, Cease. Almost. They had to review it. It felt like the Cardinals like, can we just get out of here and call it a win, please? So the Raiders should have gotten a win here. Played the Chargers, who look like a really good team. Tough in week 1. All they have to show for it is 0-2 and a trip to Tennessee next week.
Was it good for you too, Bloom?
Oh man, Cease. I'm reminded of Futurama, and there's the best episode
Love
ever.
Futurama.
The best episode ever of Futurama. It was really like, it gets you right there. It was a beautiful episode. It was the episode about Fry's
was it the dog?
No,
the brother.
Oh,
that was a good one. Yeah,
the one about his brother, right? And there's a point when he, like, I think he breaks in. He has like this Ronco record safe for his records, and he gets out the Breakfast Club soundtrack, and he looks at the cover. That's one of the things about records. I know you have my speech about that sometimes in the show,
right?
And
Set Danda on the couch every week.
The Breakfast Club, right? And he looks at the record, and young Fry, he's probably like 10 or 11, 12 years old at this point, and he says, "I can't wait until I'm old enough to feel ways about stuff." And no matter what, No matter what, Cease, you felt a lot of ways about a lot of stuff when you watch football, and that's what keeps us coming back.
Yes, that is for sure. It is the Audible. It is Cecil Lammey, and it is Sigmund Bloom. What a great day. Let's go enjoy some great football. And we'll be back for you, of course, this week. Waiver Wire Show Tuesday, preview shows Wednesdays and Thursdays, Thursday night show, of course, IDP Blitz. We have the Dynasty newsletter. We have the Dynasty show. We have the mailbag show. We have the Power Grid with Devin Nuts. And also the Saturday night Devin Nuts. You want to hang out on a Saturday night? Your DFS, right? Last call DFS. Mm-hmm. See, Devin, we need to get that sponsored for Devin by some sort of like, well, if it was Denver, it'd be like Stranahan's bourbon, right? Mm-hmm, so Devin can just get there all blasted. He can just sit down, get all blasted, drinking bourbon, and then be like, yeah, this is your DFS lineups. I would love to see that.
BFS.
Yes, DFS. There's Devin with the shout out. So yeah, that's on Saturday. The Power Grid comes out late Thursday night. So we've got you covered. Also, the Pretend GM with Alfredo Brown starts this
tomorrow
week as well.
And he's going to be in the booth with us Thursday night. So that's going to be fun.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. So nothing but a bunch of fun here on our Footballguys channel. So do all those YouTube things, like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid and Bloom. I'm going to try to get this right. I've been watching a lot of the Y-Files.
Okay.
The Y-Files. And I was watching about the Black Knight satellite. Do you know about that? It's been here for like 13,000 years.
You know about the Russian woodpecker? See, I'm getting you distracted. The Y-Files.
Yeah. So I have my famous sticky notes that I always tell you about. Nanosat xenotransplant information skin.
Okay.
So I wrote that down. Anyway, the guy that does Y-Files, great channel. He does this at the end. He says, be safe, be a good person, and know that you are appreciated.
Yeah.
So it's not quite stay frosty. You know what I mean? Because everyone has a close. But I like that. I was like that. I like that. Be safe, be a good person, know that you are appreciated. He's Sigmund. I'm Cecil. We're the Audible, everyone. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. And as always, I command that you stay frosty.